Hey, it's Rob. It's Wax Wednesday stuff I picked up. Had a great week of vinyl. We'll get to that here in just a bit. I'm going to challenge myself a hair, maybe step out of my comfort zone just a touch. But first, I want to introduce you to this. And actually, we're listening to it right now. Let me turn it up a hair.
Saving up your gold, 'cause he who holds the gold holds the power. At least that's what I'm told. Instead of saving up for rain.
Oh, man. Love it. Saturday night, I went to the album release party show for the Chickahominy Mountain Band. This is their debut vinyl release, New Brunswickana. It's friggin' crazy good. I've been listening to this a lot, and man, it is so fantastic. I don't know if you haven't seen them before. It's definitely a roots kind of music, but it's kind of got this loping gait to it. It kind of sounds like, maybe. I was talking to Dale Hunter at the show, and he said, they remind me of the band. And you're right, they do remind me of the band as well. That's the one I'm trying to point to for a reference point on the Chickahominy Mountain Band. But it's fantastic. Well, come to think of it, Mike Humble, the drummer, is even starting to look like Levon Helm a little bit. So what's with that? But, there's lots of New Brunswick references in this music. Sam Astorino is a fantastic frontman, probably one of the most underrated frontmen in the Maritimes. He's so good. He's like Tom Waits if Tom Waits had a favorite fiddlehead spot. But, there's references to living in Charlotte County. In fact, Chickahominy Mountain itself, I learned at the show, is the highest point of elevation in Charlotte County. Did you know that? Anyway, these guys are proud New Brunswickers. The music is fun and smart. I've loved Don Flats playing on it. How about Pat Gushu as well? Holy smokes, that guy on mandolin, and he played like a little small scale electric guitar. It was fantastic. He just smokes on that stuff. And those aren't even his main instruments. You should hear him play bass. If you ever hear of a band called Iguanodon, go see those guys. They'll floor you. But anyway, Ian Sherwood on bass, man, just anchoring this thing. They do everything fantastic. Lots of references to New Brunswick, like an Alpine beer and Charlotte County, and living at the Macadam Vanceboro border crossing. You'll get the idea, man. So good. That's the Chickahominy Mountain Band and Americana, or New Brunswickana. It's like our take on Americana. Elbows up, right? Anyway, let me turn this down a little bit. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. But we're going to kind of change gears a little bit. Sorry for the shaky camera work. Look, ever since COVID, I got into jazz a little bit, and I am a neophyte. I'm far from an authority on the subject of jazz. I wouldn't even dare insult a jazz fan by saying I know a lot about this, but I am enjoying learning about it, and I am enjoying the genre, period. I would have to say I have listened to enough to know that I do like an era. I like that kind of post-bop, maybe modal period from the late 40s up to and on through the 50s. I'm not so much a fusion guy. I like my horn players. I like the smoky feel of it. I like the vibe. It kind of close your eyes. You're in a late night club. I would love to see some of these players that I listen to in intimate settings. And within the last 60 or 70 years, you had that opportunity, and they're masters of their craft. Anyway, one of the guys I'm looking for, but anyway, to get back to my credentials, I am not a jazz, I don't even own any Charlie Parker yet. How could I call myself a jazz fan? Seriously. No Dexter Gordon yet either. But I'm working on it. I'll get those guys. But I was looking for Ornette Coleman. I don't always agree with everything one of my heroes, Lou Reed, says. He kind of shot his mouth off quite a bit. Sometimes it was for shock value, for provocation, for entertainment, whatever the case may be. And sometimes you could agree with them, and sometimes not so much. I mean, like I don't agree with what he said about the Beatles, but maybe I do agree with what he said about Zappa. But one thing he was always adamant about was this jazz guy, Ornette Coleman, and how important he was to the more experimental side of the Velvet Underground. So I said, I don't have any Ornette Coleman. I got to look for some of that. So I went to Backstreet, and I found Ornette Coleman's name on this. This is Jackie McLean. He's a sax player. One of Miles Goodwin... Miles Goodwin, yeah. April Wine. One of Miles Davis's, I can't believe I did that. One of Miles Davis's kind of runaround pals in the early days. This is new and old gospel. This does feature Ornette Coleman in the band, but Ornette's not playing his regular instrument. He's a saxophonist as well, and he's playing trumpet on this, but still very, very free form and experimental. As for Jackie McLean himself, I did kind of look him up a little bit, and I read about him in this book that I've been reading, Shades of Blue, which kind of looks at Miles Davis, John Coltrane, and Gil Evans. Did I say Gil Evans? He was another jazz guy. Bill Evans. Right around 1959, when these guys were kind of at the peak of their powers, and kind of, documenting the rise of each one, and we're kind of getting to that peak year of 1959, which we're going to check out something from here very soon. But anyway, a little background on Jackie McLean. He was kind of one of Miles Davis's buddies from the early days, shall we say, and I found a reference to him in this book. At this point, Miles and Jackie, they're both very young and hooked on heroin, and it's a dark period for Miles. I'm going to assume it is for Jackie, but here's how they walked the walk. High on junk, sick, he blew around the city like a tumbleweed. He lived for a while at Stan Levy's place on Long Island, and then he didn't. He bounced from hotel to hotel. We're talking about Miles Davis here. The American again, the University on 20th Street. He ran around town with the 19-year-old Jackie McLean. Miles was 6 years older than McLean, vastly more experienced, with a name in the music business and to some extent in the world at large. But hanging with Jackie brought out Davis's inner teenager. When they weren't shooting dope together, the pair took in 42nd Street movies, watched the boxers at Stillman's gym, and, most fun, when they were high, rode the subway, convulsing with laughter at the corny shoes and clothing of the fellow passengers. So, that's the thing about these jazz guys. They're characters. Like, you can kind of shake your head and go, what is it with heroin and jazz of that period? But, it was available. Not much was known about it. People got hooked on this. Miles was on it for years, and so was this Jackie McLean guy. Actually, he's an early casualty. Barely made it into his 40s. Anyway, it's very good. There's one track on here that I really like. It's called Old Gospel. And the piano player, who is Lamont Johnson, is just going nuts on this. But it still has that real rhythmic gospel feel to it. It's a lot of fun to listen to, but you're hearing a lot of guys take chances. And it's really exciting to listen to. So I did get finally a little Ornette Coleman in my life and in my collection. So I was happy about that. So I was walking on my way home, and I said, well, I'm in the neighborhood. Let me walk into Digital World and just have a peek in there. I didn't even go in there thinking I was going to buy anything. I was just going to have a look around. Well, I looked around, and I did find this. The album I was looking for. 1959's Ornette Coleman's The Shape of Jazz to Come. He's kind of a divisive figure among jazz players. He's, you can either look at him one of two ways. He's kind of one of these guys who's seeing the future of jazz, kind of anticipating free jazz, and really taking it to exciting new places. But there were some of the purists, some of the older guys that were saying, man, this guy's a fraud. This guy's nothing. But anyway, this is widely regarded as one of the top 10, great jazz albums of all time. So, and I found it the same morning I found the other one, just at a different store. What are the odds? So anyway, I picked that up. So I got that. So now I'm set up for Ornette Coleman, and I'm awfully glad I am. He is exciting. He's a brave new breed, and well, for the time. 1959. The three big albums from that year are Kind of Blue by Miles Davis, Dave Brubeck's Take 5, and this one. Those three albums kind of really reshaped modern jazz, and that's Ornette Coleman's thing. And one more thing we got this weekend. Krista and I went to a flea market. Well, not a flea market, but it was kind of like a flea market. It was beside the market on a Saturday morning. It looked like a place there might be someone in there selling records. There was. And we bought a few, but we got this one. And this might be the haul of the week, despite that terrible album art. My God, what kind of picture is that? That's terrible. This is Aretha's Jazz. It came out in 1977. It is on the Atlantic label. It is stuff that she recorded in the late 60s. But really, I wouldn't really call this jazz at all. This is a hard-driving blues record, and Aretha sounds amazing on this. My gosh, what a surprise this turned out to be. I think because of the album cover, I didn't have much... I didn't really hold a lot of anticipation for it. I guess, how good can this be? But it is amazing, incredible. It's Aretha really driving it home with some power. There's lots of special guests on here, notably Billy Preston on a track on side 2. But she does Bring It On Home to Me, that classic. She does this track called Ramblin', which is just a killer. She was just rocking it. Anyway. Highly recommended. This is Aretha's Jazz. And those are the ones we picked up this week. And man, pretty good week, wouldn't you say? So if you picked up something, I'd love to hear about it. Put it in the comment section. Always, send it on to someone you think might enjoy this, and hit subscribe and spread the word and do what you can. And home is where your records are, so go home and listen to one tonight. And we'll talk to you in 7 days. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.